Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. I know it's been a long time, been a month or so. Just had a lot of things going on, but we're back in the kitchen today. We're gonna be doing some ribs. If you've ever attempted ribs before, or just wanting to try them, and if you have tried them and they haven't turned out like you liked, or not been tender enough, or whatever the case may be, I'm going to show you step by step how to do that, and the way I like to do it. There's many ways to do it, but we'll go ahead and get started. All right, guys, we got us a rack of baby back ribs. They're probably the easiest ribs I've cooked to get tender. They're definitely a good rib to start for if you're a beginner. They've got plenty of meat on them, and they render down pretty good, and it's really hard to mess them up, especially if you just do what I'm fixing to show you. The first step I do with these ribs is there's a thing they call the membrane on the bottom side of these ribs. What you want to do is remove that. It allows them to absorb more moisture, all around, just cook down better. So the best thing to do is just get rid of this. It's really tricky if you haven't done it before. For me, sometimes it's still hard for me. If you don't get a good starting point, it's really hard. If you've never done it before, the way I recommend is to get you a spoon or something not too sharp. That way you don't get down in the meat, and get you a starting point. And the best way to grab this is get some paper towels and hold it to, use it to grab onto, and you can actually grip it real good and start to tear it off. But I've done made a cut down here in the middle, if you can see what I'm taking off. But if everything goes right, it'll peel back. You can see what it's looking like. Sorry if the camera angle's not the best. I've not got much to work with. But I'm just peeling. And if you don't get every bit of it off, if you got just a few pieces here and there, don't worry about it. It's not going to hurt that much. You just want to keep on peeling and keep on peeling and keep on peeling. And there it is. It come off clean as a whistle. All right. Next thing you want to do, what I've been doing with these, you can see all this fat and that stuff, it really gets toughened up. It's not something really great to eat there on the end. So what I've been doing is, should have probably had a knife ready. But what I've been doing is I've been trimming usually the first bone off on the wider side, and then the smaller bone off on the thinner side. So we're gonna go ahead and do that. It seems like it's allowed the ribs to cook a lot more, I guess you could say, evenly. It just makes a better rack of ribs if you do this. There's one, and you can see all this mess down here on the bottom. You don't want none of that. All right, and the next thing we're going to do is I'm going to get me some mustard, just regular Food Club, whatever cheap brand knockoff that is. What I like to do is, you don't have to drown it in it, just put you enough on there, that way you can rub it down and have a light coating. It makes for a good base. You can actually tell where your seasoning's going, what you've got covered up and what you don't. Just rub it down like so. All right, guys, sorry about that. Had somebody here at the door. Dog going nuts. But anyway, you wanna have that thin layer looking about like that. I usually just use 3 to 4 things a season, whatever kind of rub or anything you want to use, wear it out. But what I use is, like I had in the last cooking video, some Slappy Mama. You don't want to go too crazy with it, but you do want to put a fair amount on. Some garlic powder. Get some garlic powder that hasn't been that's already open. Pretty good coating of that. Slappy Mama's already got some pepper in it, but I like to put just a little bit more. Seems like it gives it a little bit better color. And then the one thing I do recommend to put on there with your rub is some brown sugar. You don't have to go crazy with it or anything. Just get you a pretty good bit on there. That right there is about what I've got poured out on it. And I just like to rub everything in. Just kind of like pat it in and rub it in and get all the corners. All right, that side's done. We're gonna go up here on the top side, the fat side, and we're gonna trim it up just a little bit. This stuff that you can kind of pick up and grab like that, I like to cut it off. You want some fat on your ribs, but you don't want all this mess. Well, this stuff's basically just coming off by hand, which is fine too. Well, that should be pretty good right there. What we're gonna do on the top side, same thing we did on the bottom side. I'll start with the base layer of mustard. All right, there's plenty enough. Don't need no more than that. Wipe my hands off a minute. Okay, then you want to start on your rub. You can use salt, pepper, and garlic powder, or salt and pepper, or whatever you like. You just want to make sure you get a pretty good coating. But like I said, I definitely recommend the brown sugar on top of whatever you're putting down. It makes for a good sweet and kind of a sticky flavor. I think that's what everybody likes in their ribs. Brown sugar. A little bit more. Alright, that should be plenty. Kind of like pat and rub. You don't want to really rub too hard and rub it right off the top. You don't want that. Sugar on there. I'm going to put just a little bit more seasoning on. All right, there it is. I'm going to let these sit for probably about, I haven't even fired up the smoker yet. It usually takes about 20 minutes to get up to heat. But what I like to do after I get this step done right here, I like to let the meat sit out for 15-30 minutes. I mean, don't let it sit out for hours at a time, but let it set out long enough and you'll know when it's kind of ready, because the meat will start sweating. You can tell there's kind of a wet look on top, and whenever it gets that, you know, it's absorbing all that rub and seasoning and everything that you put on it. But like I said, once it gets that good sweaty look to it, we'll put them on the smoker. I'm gonna go out there and fire it up. But what we're cooking them at today is, on my smoker, I cook it at about 235, and that usually gets me about the 6-hour mark on my ribs. All smokers are different, but as long as you cook below 250, this method's going to work for you. So if you cook it a little bit below 235, it's no problem. If you cook it a little bit above, it's no problem either. Basically, we want to go for a certain internal temperature, and there's a process in the cooking. We're gonna wrap these ribs after we cook them for a little bit, and then take them back out of the wrap. But yeah, we'll go through all that here in just a few minutes, and we'll show you all that. But let's go fire up the smoker. All right, guys, right here's what I'm talking about with the kind of the glazy, sweaty look. That's how you want them to look before you put them on the grill. I'll slap these things on the grill and show them to you here in just a little bit. All right, we got them in the smoker here. I was just going to kind of give you directions on cooking these. Anytime I'm doing any of this cooking, don't fire up your charcoal grill or your gas grill, whatever you're going to be cooking with. When I say 250 degrees or whatever when I'm smoking, that means indirect heat. So that don't mean go fire up your charcoal grill, get it up to 250, 300 degrees, and then lay these or whatever you're smoking right on top, because it's going to burn them. This is indirect heat. But what we're wanting to do is we're wanting to put these on here for about 3 hours with the fat side, the meat side up, bone side down. Put them on for about 3 hours, and how you tell they're ready to wrap is all the rub and everything you put on top. When you can basically just pat your finger on top of it and none of the rub comes off with it, that's when you want to wrap it. So whenever we get to that point, I'll show you how to do that. All right, the ribs are ready to wrap in the foil now. They've been on for about 3.5 hours. This cook can take anywhere from 6 to 7 hours, from my experience. If you have more wrapped ribs, it's usually going to take a little bit longer, but it's no biggie. Like I said, you just kind of allot for some time whenever you're doing this stuff. But what I got here in this foil is I've got a couple scoops of butter, barbecue sauce, and brown sugar. You can put those 3 things in there, whatever order you like, it don't matter. But I try to get it the length, about the same length as the rack of ribs. It don't have to be perfect. But if you don't have real wide foil, they make some foil that's pretty wide. I think it's, let's see what it is. It's a Reynolds Wrap grill, and it's really wide. And usually what I have to do is take 2 normal size pieces of foil and kind of offset where it's wide enough to wrap around the ribs. But what we're going to do, we're going to go out here and we're going to take these ribs off, and we're going to lay the fat side or the meat side down and the bone side up, and we're going to wrap them up tight. Right here's kind of what you're looking for right before you wrap them. If you can see how the bone, or how that meat's pulling back from the bone right there, that's what you want to start looking for. It's got a pretty good bark on it. You don't want it to dry out too bad. But we're going to wrap them up now. I'll show you how I put them back on the grill. All right, we got the ribs on the foil. Like I said, the bone side up. What we're gonna do is actually wrap them up first, but I was just wanting to show you. I know some of this stuff can get pretty confusing, but this right here is how you want to lay it on the full, and I'll show you what it looks like after it's wrapped. Ribs are wrapped up now. Got them good and tight wrapped up, and I've entered my internal temp probe or thermometer in there. And what you want to do is, after you get it wrapped, you want to take your finger on the side of the rib. It don't matter which way. Find a bone and use that. You want to go right beside that bone. You don't really want to get too close to a bone, because it'll give you a false read, and it'll actually read hotter than what the meat actually is. But I did lay them the fat side down and bone side up, just like in the previous clip. Lay them down just like that, and we're gonna let her cook for a couple more hours. All right, got the ribs pulled off. The internal temp was 190. This is gonna be the last step. I've covered it in barbecue sauce. I'm gonna put them back on the smoker for about an hour. Let them cook real low, just so the sauce can kind of cook onto the ribs. And that's gonna be it. Next time you see them, they're gonna be done. We'll see how they are. Ribs are done, guys. Just a tad bit over 6 hours. Everything's looking good. I can done tell they're gonna be tender just by getting them off the grill. I'm gonna cut a piece off and show you what we got. All right, got me a piece here. I'll show you what we're looking for whenever you take a bite off one. I gotta have to say, that's pretty tender. Get a good clean bone. That's what you want. Guys, thanks for watching. All y'all know me. Need any advice on any of this stuff, just let me know. Appreciate it.